Good day to everyone. We are now in our next topic, which will be talking about literature, on how we review, and how we talk or deal with different literary pieces. Now, let's have a good day and let's take this cup of coffee with us as we get to know our discussion today. Okay, let's start our day with this quotation coming from Socrates. According to him, the life which is unexamined is not worth living. I'll give you extra seconds to think and reflect on this quotation. Okay, I hope you have now your own thing or you have your own thought with this quotation of Socrates. And I'll give you some or my insight also about this that it will be unworthy if you don't have this sense of reflection on your life. There's no certain review, there is no certain assessment on your life. We are living in this world and we realizes that much. We realizes or we realized that we are growing, we are developing, and on the other hand, we also realize that we are suffering, we are sad. We know that we are sad. You know that you're happy because you know yourself. You examine yourself that you experiencing such emotion, and that's all about life. And if you have a sense of reflection in those things, then you are living in a worthy manner. It's according to Socrates. And it's up to you also if you have other explanation about this. Okay, let's come now to our main topic, our objective this day or today. We will be discussing the schools of literary criticisms. I will teach you on how to critic or on how to criticize. Understood? Do you want also to learn on how to criticize? Yes or no? Or maybe because we are a judge, we judge already people and also some things. We criticize also, you criticize already your teacher, your friend. Mm. We are used to it. Mm. Maybe there's a negative connotation if you hear criticism. That all critics are bad, but you're you're not right there. You're wrong with your disposition that critics or criticisms are bad. Not all criticisms are bad. Those on behalf are healthy critics or criticisms. It follows the objective type of criticism. And what you're thinking right now is not that kind of criticism that you will be learning, but this might help, especially these schools or these thoughts based from other ideology. We will not critique somebody, We will critique literature, especially literary criticism. We will applying this one. So let's start with this definition of literary criticism. I have in here various definition of criticisms. Oh, sorry, criticism, only one. I have in here. I put sort of definition so that we can talk about it because most of these criticisms or definition for LC are interrelated or also related to one another. Let's start with the first definition. Literary criticism is the evaluation, the analysis, the description, or the interpretation of literary work. This is how you evaluate the totality of the text. If it is a book, then you evaluate from its cover to its first page until the last page. You evaluate. Simply looking on the title, it is a portion of literary criticism. Understood? And also, you analyze the content. What is your analysis? Based from what is your analysis? And that's LC. And also, the way you describe the text, the way you extract or interpret the text, it is a portion or it is a part of literary criticism. Don't be confused with the word book review, movie review, song review, and other reviews or ratings. There are such words as ratings. If we are tasked to put some stars on it, if it is good or not. Maybe that's not a verbal review. It is a symbolical review on that literary text. But it is only a portion of literary criticism. Literary criticism, we are talking about the overview of the text. Every edge of the text, we are looking into it. And we need to magnify it to see and in order for us to evaluate the text. Understood? I hope you're getting it. And this one, literary criticism also involves the understanding of both the writer and the reader. In understanding and also this certain appreciation on the written text. You appreciate the life. That's why writers put his or her experience or idea into context. He wrote that to have the text itself. And it's up to the reader on how to interpret it, to understand it. And that's literary criticism. How about these next definitions? Literary criticism is the evaluation of literary works. Correct. We evaluate from cover to cover, title to its footer, or from the header to footer, from its pages, even the font style, even the font size matters in literary criticism. Understood? Under literary criticism, we classify literary work into different genre. We evaluate. That's why we need to classify it in a certain genre, if it is fiction or not fiction or non-fiction. Understood? If it is horror, is it comedy? Is that ballad? Is that poetry? Is that sonnet? Is that, and so many more. That's how we evaluate. We're getting deeper if we talk about the genre. How about the analysis of structure? Maybe this is a shallow description or criticism of a literary work, but it has a relation on the text, especially the structure. Maybe, so sorry. Um, First, I'll just divide literary into two. It could be under the prose or the poetry. If we analyze its structure, it will be easy for us to analyze the form or the structure of a poem or under poetry than on prose. Understood? On prose, you need to read the entire text before you evaluate its structure. Understood? Than poetry, where by simply looking on the structure, by simply noticing the meter, the syllable, the rhyming words, and also the lines or the stanza, you can identify the structure of a poem. But in a prose, you need to read that, or you need to read the entire text. No other than, sorry, just go back. And then literary criticism also has this judgment of value. After you read the entire text, you could eject some value or lesson on those. Understood? That's the thing for um, that's the thing for literary criticism. We are getting to know many things, not only with the genre, not only with the structure, and also this the core of the story, the core of the poem, which is the value or the lesson. Next is that literary criticism also asked what literature or literary type. I said a while ago, the two. I'll just add more. Under what type of literature? Is that ballad? Is that epic? Is that folktale? Is that mythology or myth? Is that fable? Is it parable? And so on and so forth. Understood? That's how you critique a certain literary work. Okay? And you need to dig deeper. And also literary criticism is also called methodology of criticism. This is the method or the process on how you interpret the work or the text. And literary criticism is a large box full of lenses or magnifying glasses that you may use to identify specific angle or the edge of that text. We could use the metaphor that it is a sunglasses of different schools of literary criticism, that you are using different lenses to view specific detail about the text. Understood? And that's it. That's how you do this critic thing. Okay, let's continue. Okay, let's continue. And what are these schools for LC or literary criticisms? Maybe some of these schools or school of thoughts are familiar to you, especially the feminism or the feminist school or literary criticism. It's also under these schools. Understood? Okay. We have this first school, which is about structural literary criticism. Even without having its definition, it is easy for us to describe or even evaluate text by simply looking on its structure. Understood? And it is a view or a point of view on the text where you can describe the structure itself, the pattern. What's the pattern of the words? How about the usage of the words? Or is there any jargon? Is there any scientific words on that um, on that text? It's under structural criticism. Let's have more. Structuralist or formalist. Structural is also related to formal literary criticism, which is another literary criticism type. Opo. Structural literary criticism is a theory of literature that focuses on the codes and conventions that undergird all discourse and on the system of language as a functioning totality. That is structural. You assesses from the beginning until the end, even punctuation marks. You're studying that under structuralist. You're noticing every word which is repeatedly overused. Yeah, overused in the text. Why is the author or the text repeatedly saying the word? It's under structure. Why is it this word unfamiliar? Is this a new word? Yeah, under structural literary criticism. It's about the structure. A while ago, I said that it's easy for us to criticize poems or poetry because it is barely noticeable upon looking on those words, on the pattern, on the rhyming words. You can know the genre. You may know what kind of literary text is that. How about the prose? Is that argumentative? Is that persuasive? Is the prose arguing with the author? Not anymore. The pattern or the structure or the format we are referring to. Let's come now to the next, which is about moral criticism. Every poem, every text under prose, it have this so-called value or lesson that you could inject or you could get coming from the literary text. If you wear these glasses or lens of moral criticism, you will look on different beliefs, different thinking, different what do you call that, tradition, because it's too hard to argue with morality because remember, we all have these differences, not only in terms of our religion, but also on those thoughts we are clinging to or believed on, it's too hard to argue with morality. It's upon or it's based from the reader. Understood? And that's moral criticism. This one believes that literature has a humanizing or civilizing mission in the critic value work which further that end. For me, I do believe that all of the text have its moral. Understood? You could get something out of it. Once you read that, you will learn something. Even even if it's a news report, if it's a featured article, there's moral there. And some moral or the value or the lesson, it could promote tolerance. We have this social justice about sensitivity to individual, individual wishes rather. How about the talents? It's under morality. It is this certain criticism is bounded with beliefs, with universal truths, with our own laws and tradition, culture also. It's too hard to argue under moral criticism. Okay? But critics look at whether the text seeks to corrupt or negatively influence the reader. Because some of the texts are normalizing some beliefs or those unhuman value that they want to impart, they want it to become a normal thing. Understood? It's moral criticism. Next is about historical criticism. Under these historical criticisms, we are referring to history or on the past where it was written. And also, historical criticism is concerned also with the author. Understood? It's also concerned with the author because he's the one who wrote the text. And some of the experiences and also the ideas, sometimes the setting, sometimes the mood or the touch or the ambience of the text came from the history. Is it only referring to the past or in the past? Definitely not. Text also could be used in the present because some texts are representing or could be viewed into the now or in the present or maybe in the future. That's why we have this science fiction as a genre or futuristic appeal. Maybe it is written in the history or in the past, but it could still used in the present times, and also it could also used in the future. I hope you're getting my point in this. That's historical. And a historical approach relies heavily on the author and his world. In this certain view, it is important to understand the author and his world. That's why during my discussion in a certain literary type or literary text, I am presenting to you the nature or when it was published, who published the work, because it is really related with one another. Understood? Hmm. The view of the author is reflecting to his or her beliefs, prejudices, the time when he lived in history. And for us to fully understand the work, we need to understand both the time, the society where this author wrote the literary type. Understood? Or the text itself. How about biographical criticism? To be the fourth one. Biographical criticism is also related to the first one, which is the historical, because it talks about the life of the author. Not only the life, we have this psychology or the psychoanalytic of the writer, why he wrote that certain text. I know you're familiar with Jose Rizal. You know his biography. And then No Limitangere and El Filibusterismo was written during the time of Spaniards, during the reign of Spain in the Philippines. And it could, it is reflected on the novel, what happened in the Philippines. Understood? Is Maria Clara an allusion to Philippines or to the Philippines? Is he used the word Maria Clara in the name Philippines? We are abused by these Spaniards. Understood? Oh, it is so easy. If we look on the view of the author, we are using biographical criticism. Understood? Don't be confused, because disclaimer, these criticisms that we are discussing right now could overlap with one another. Maybe some school of thoughts are related with the other one, into the other one, and maybe all of them are related. Understood? Let's come now with the sociological criticism. Sociological criticism is, it talks about the society. It talks about the place, about the politics, about some events happening in that age or in that certain time. Understood? Sociological criticism maintains that the literary work cannot be separated from the social context. It is really right. Just like Nolimi and El Fili. Not only that, with Don Quixote, it is reflected on his writings. How about Miguel de Cervantes sa Saavedra? He talks about what government or politics they have during their time. We have three: biological, we have historical, and also sociological. Understood? And under sociological criticism, we have two types, which is also another type of school of criticism, which is the feminist and Marxist. Under feminist, we have gender-sensitive criticism also. It is not only focused with women. Let's have this, feminist. We already discussed feminist criticism or feminist approach. The Handmaid's Tale is under feminist thing. If you use feminist lens, and then you view that women should be empowered, no other than. And the social strata on the story, The Handmaid's Tale, is about society. That's why feminist criticism is under sociological criticism. It's about the society. It's about the people. It concerns on their gender and sex. Understood? And under feminist criticism, we have this gender sensitive because it right now it's a new type of criticism, the gender sensitive, because there are literature that focuses also with third sex, the LGBTQIA community. We have the gay, the lesbian also in some stories. Understood? It, that's all about the gender of the society, their preferences. Next to feminist criticism is the Marxist criticism. Marxist criticism is based from the theory of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels about the social and economic or economy of the world, and also it concerns with politics, the government. Opo, it's about capitalism. How rich people dominates the world or the society. And that's why Marxist criticism is under sociological criticism, because Marxist criticism talks about the government, about the economy of the society, about social stratification, where there's in the world there is poor, there is rich, there is a lord, there is a servant. Understood? It's under the Marxist perspective or lens. We have these values based on labor. The working class will eventually overthrow the capitalist middle class. The middle class exploits the working class. Most institutions, such religious institution, legal, educational, and governmental, are corrupted by middle class because of this capitalist human being. These are the people who are investing in some businesses. They are earning because of this institution. Understood? That's under Marxist criticism. It's another form of or school of thought. I hope you're getting this one. Okay, let's end there. And kindly wait for next part. Let's continue. I hope you can still learn.